You know, the ant that's just crawling on the floor under your feet feels a sense of self just as much as you do, and it's the same sense of self that it feels. But in addition to that sense of self, you have lots of other things that you've added on to that. Like the fact that you're a man or a woman, the fact that you're married or unmarried, the fact that you have an age, the fact that you have a family, the fact that you have friends, the fact that you know where you are. These are things that an ant might not compute, because they don't have the intelligence to absorb that information and to contemplate that information. Because of that, perhaps they only feel a sense of self, and in addition to that, that they're hungry, or they're thirsty, or they're tired, or they want to reproduce. These are the instincts, as we say. These instincts, animals go through. But because we have the power of intelligence, we are able to absorb more information, assimilate that information, and make more sense of the world. But the underlying sense of self, what about that? That is identical. Don't you see the joke there? Your sense of self makes you feel that you are unique, right? What a joke that is. Because it is the same sense of self that occurs in every single mind. So if we were to take away your memory, let's just imagine we could do that. If we were able to extract your memory, detach your mind from its access to your memory, you would all be the same. You would not be able to tell who you were. You would feel just the same way in someone else's mind. And that is the one bit that makes you feel that you are unique. What a laugh. Does that make sense to you? Did that make sense to you? Because that's a really important part of understanding anicca, dukkha and anatta as well. That is why this sense of self is just overrated. It is not as unique as you think it is. You are not as unique as you think you are. Underneath, we are all the same. And I don't mean physically, cut us and we all bleed the same. That's not what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. Even mentally, you're all the same. Each chitta arises to process an object, a mental object. Chakkuncha paticca rupecha uppajjati chakku vijnana. When the eye comes into contact with an object, consciousness is born. If you could reproduce those causes in another place, the same effect will arise. What makes you think you are unique? What makes you think you are special? I don't mean this in a bad way. Okay, like what makes you think you're special? I don't mean it that way. I mean it's in a very philosophical way, okay? I'm not telling you off like your school teacher would do. What makes you think you're so special? I walked into the room, everyone else stood up, but you didn't. What makes you think you're so special? Not in that tone, okay? I mean this in a very philosophical way. Right? This is the time for us, it's time for us to contemplate the Dhamma. The biggest and the only problem in your life is the fact that you feel special. That is the problem. That is your curse. You feel special. By special, I mean you feel unique. You feel you're so different to the person sat next to you, but you both ate from the same rice pot. If you all live together, you eat together. And that food is cooked together. That food is grown on the same paddy field. It's all done together. It takes energy from the same sun and takes its nutrients from the same soil. But after you've eaten it, you feel like you're special. Where did that specialness happen? What is your speciality? Well, I'm a surgeon, Swami, no, so that's my speciality. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean in a very philosophical way. What is your speciality? What is it that makes you special? Don't you all feel special? By special, I mean unique. Do you feel like you're the same person sat next to you? Do you? If you did, you wouldn't get married to that person. You wouldn't have gotten married to that person if you felt that you were the same person. I mean, who gets married to themselves? See, I was married once because I thought I was unique. So I went around finding my unique partner. I knew that there was someone out there. My princess, I knew she was out there. I wanted to be her prince, and my princess was waiting out there. Because I was special, and so was she. So when we met, I used to say things to her that made her feel special. All the while feeding ignorance after ignorance after ignorance into her innocent mind. You don't realize this. Every time you make someone feel that they're unique and they're special, what you're really doing is you're feeding in ignorance into their minds. Because ultimately, to become free, to become liberated, what you really got to understand is that you're not special at all. You are one with nature. You are nature and nature is you. So how can any of us be special? For as long as we feel, ladies and gentlemen, that we are independent or we are unique, we are an entity in some way, that itself is the curse